Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be showing you how to understand, use, and validate the GEO Index optimization tool. As a bit of background on the subject, I built this tool to address an emerging shift in how websites are indexed. Web users increasingly choose sites to visit based on recommendations from generative LLMs rather than directly typing into their search bars. Generative engine optimization is a new phrase which refers to the practice of updating web content so that AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Copilot can easily read, understand, and quote your website's information. This tool creates a block of structured data called JSON-LD, or JSON for linked data, and injects it into the body of the page's HTML, which can greatly improve a site's indexability. The JSON-LD contents are specialized based on a page's schema, which is the framework used to define and categorize the specific data types on a website for search engines. The tool is specialized for WordPress websites, but the API I built on the backend can work for any website. And for this video, I'll be showing how to perform each step required to utilize the tool by demonstrating on a WordPress site with realistic data. Alright, so now we're on the GEO Index demo website. As you can see, one of the major content types on the site is recipes. On the subpage, you can see it's got some of the information fields you'd expect, like serving size, cooking time, ingredients, and preparation, as well as the recipe contributor. This is the other main content type on the site. You can see he's got his bio, information like contact information and thumbnail image, as well as the recipe he created. In total, there are 25 contributors and 25 recipes on the site. And now it's time to see how a WordPress administrator could go about using the tool to add JSON-LD structured data to each of the 50 web pages. All right, so as you can see, we're in WordPress now, where the 25 recipe pages and 25 contributor pages are stored. So as a WordPress administrator who wants to index all 50 of these, the first step is to enter the GEO Index admin screen, which contains a table which the application will use later in indexing, and this will contain a list of every page that you want indexed. To populate the table, click the Populate GEO Index button and select which content types you want to include. The site is simple and only has 2 content types. However, some sites might have dozens of content types, some of which may not be user-facing. So select which ones you want, click Proceed, and the table has now been populated. You can modify it further by deleting any record that you so choose. The next step is classification, where for each web page you select the corresponding schema.org classification, which is the official structured data definition for that type. So taking a perfect French omelette as the example, you would select the corresponding schema type to the post type, which in this case is recipe. However, on your web page, there's no guarantee that the post type would be called recipe. It might be something synonymous like meal type, for instance. So that's where the WordPress administrator has to make a bit of a judgment on what the correct schema.org classification to choose is. Now, there's a less tedious way to apply a certain classification to everything of a certain post type. Group by post type, and then you see all the recipes are grouped. Select a classification, in this case recipe. Apply to all in group. You can see the classification was applied to all the recipes. Now we do the same for recipe authors. In this case, the correct classification for all these would be the person classification. The The final step, once classification is done, is for the administrator to generate the JSON LD for each record on the website. So you can see here the list of all classified records. None of them have had the JSON LD generated yet, so let's start with an example. The JSON LD for this recipe, which was just generated, looks good. We'll validate in more detail later. Similarly, it also looks valid for this person's page. Now, you don't have to click every records button. You can generate JSON LD for all records which currently don't have that data, and you can see it iterating through. Now we'll jump to some more in-depth validation of the JSON LD that's being produced. All right, now that all the JSON LD has been generated for the pages, let's see the impact that it's had. Going back to chocolate chip cookies as an example, you can see the page source that the JSON LD has been injected into the request at the bottom of the HTML head. Now, to really assess the accuracy, we can use schema.org's schema markup validator test, which will basically tell us how well the JSON LD data conforms to the schema. You can see here that it did pretty well, 0 errors, 0 warnings, meaning that all the required fields were met and it's structured well. Do a similar test, check the JSON LD that was created for this creator. See, it was injected in the same place. Passing this contributor's URL into the schema.org test, we can see, yep, this is more of a person type JSON LD structure. And once again, there's no errors and no warnings. Basically, the tool has created a valid JSON LD for all 50 records. All right, so now that I've shown you how to use the tool on WordPress, I'll summarize the workflow and explain some of the technical details from behind the scenes. So what happens first is the site gets indexed, which happens when the admin picks the post types and clicks populate. This fills a MySQL table. And from this table, the admin assigns schema.org types to each record in the classification screen. Once classification is done, the final step for the admin is to request generation, clicking generate or generate all, which sends some information to an API I built. So how this API works is it fetches the page's HTML contents, extracts the important content using a library called Trafalatra, and builds a dynamic prompt with that HTML content, as well as the classification type and a whitelist of valid properties based on the classification. It sends that prompt to an LLM, and there's a list of LLMs in case one is down that day. And basically, whichever LLM runs returns the JSON LD. There's an internal validation step to make sure it's valid JSON LD and not like an error. And once the JSON LD is returned, a visitor or AI crawler requests the page. Like a browser or AI answer engine loads like the URL, and the stored schema, the stored JSON LD the LLM generated, is injected into the right spot in the HTML file of the page. All right, and the end result is that after the admin steps and the API steps, there is a machine-readable like structured data line which now lives in the page's HTML head, which is really exactly what search engines and LLMs parse to understand and be more likely to cite your page. Yeah, so we like to sum it all up. First, the admin classifies, then the API generates. The result is cached in the database. And finally, at the end, every page load, human or AI, is served instantly from that cache, and there's no per request like model cost.